What if you could stop a threat without having to take a life? Well, that's the billion-dollar question a company called Byrna is trying to answer with something they've nicknamed the ungun. Today, we're going to break down exactly how this company is trying to build a brand new future for personal safety.
You know, it's a question a lot of people are wrestling with these days. There's this real hesitation for many to use traditional firearms, but at the same time, the desire to feel safe and protected is stronger than ever. This gap, this modern dilemma, that is exactly where Byrna's story kicks off.
And here they are, the companies stepping up to try and solve that very problem. Byrna is making it super clear they are not a gun manufacturer. They see themselves as a defense technology company, and they're carving out this powerful middle ground for self-defense that doesn't have to end in a fatal outcome.
Now, to really get what Byrna is doing, you have to understand this term, less lethal. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean harmless, oh no. It's all about having enough power to stop a threat, but without the permanent consequences. Think about things like tasers or pepper spray, right? Well, Byrna is taking that core idea and cranking it up to a whole new level.
So what exactly is a Byrna launcher? Okay, picture this. It's a handheld device, powered by a CO2 cartridge. It looks and feels a lot like a handgun, but here's the key difference: what it fires. You've got two main types of projectiles. First, there are kinetic rounds, which are basically hard plastic balls that hit with enough force to really get an attacker's attention and stop them. Then you have the chemical rounds. These things explode on impact and release this debilitating cloud of pepper and tear gas. It's a 1-2 punch of incapacitation. And probably the biggest selling point for a lot of people, in most places, you don't even need a firearm license to own one.
Okay, so the product is interesting, but what I think is really fascinating is their business model. Byrna isn't just putting all its eggs in one basket. They're basically fighting a war on two fronts, going after both the everyday consumer market and the professional world all at the same time. So here's how that two-pronged attack works. On one side, you've got them selling their handheld launchers directly to regular folks like you and me for personal protection. But on the other side, they're outfitting law enforcement, corrections officers, and private security with more heavy-duty, professional-grade tools. It is a seriously smart strategy because it doubles their potential market and kind of protects them no matter which way the social winds are blowing.
So, does this two-front strategy actually work? Is it paying off? Well, the numbers don't lie, and they suggest it's not just working, it's accelerating, fast. First, just look at the market they're playing in. It is huge, and it's getting bigger every single year. We're talking about a global non-lethal weapons market that's projected to be worth over $15 billion by 2033. So this isn't some tiny little niche market. Byrna is riding a massive wave of demand for safer ways to handle conflict.
And Byrna is grabbing a bigger and bigger piece of that pie. Just look at this. Their revenue in the second quarter of fiscal year 2025 shot up to $28.5 million. That is a huge jump from the same time last year. It just goes to show their ungun concept isn't just some quirky idea. It is turning into a serious money-making machine.
And you know, this quote from the company's leadership really brings it all home. The impressive numbers, they're a direct result of a really clear, mission-driven philosophy. They aren't just selling a product, they are genuinely trying to start a movement, to shift the entire conversation around self-defense with this live safe idea.
So, with that kind of momentum behind them, you have to ask yourself, what's next? What's the long-term play here? Well, if you're optimistic about Byrna, the vision for the future is incredibly ambitious.
Check out this roadmap. This lays out their potential path to becoming a billion-dollar brand. In the short term, the next year or two, they're focused on getting into more retail stores and pushing new products, aiming for up to $200 million in revenue. Then, in the 3 to 5 year range, the goal is to become a household name, a go-to for law enforcement, pushing them toward that $500 million mark. And the long game? 10 years out, they want to be the undisputed global leader in this entire category, with revenue topping $1 billion. It's a bold plan for sure, but looking at their growth, you can't say it's impossible.
But of course, that kind of incredible growth is never, ever a sure thing. Every ambitious plan has major roadblocks, and we've got to be clear-eyed about the very real challenges Byrna is up against on this journey.
And these potential roadblocks are no joke. The biggest one is probably regulation. A single change in the law could shrink their market overnight. Competition is always going to be fierce, not just from other less lethal companies, but from the massive traditional firearms industry. And maybe the scariest one, all it takes is one high-profile incident where their product is misused to create a public relations nightmare. Any one of these things could seriously derail their growth story.
But Byrna isn't just crossing its fingers and hoping for the best. They have a very clear strategy to tackle these hurdles head-on. They are pushing hard on multiple fronts at once, getting into more big-box stores, constantly innovating with new products and ammo, going after law enforcement contracts more aggressively, expanding to other countries, and spending big on marketing to make the ungun a totally mainstream idea. This is their playbook for turning all that potential into reality.
So if you boil it all down, the whole optimistic case is this. Byrna isn't just selling you a gadget. It's building an entire platform, a whole ecosystem of products, training, and a brand that is designed to own the future of non-lethal personal defense.
Which brings us right back to that big central question. Byrna's betting everything on the idea that millions of people out there are looking for a new way to feel safe, and that the ungun is the answer they've been waiting for. The real question for all of us is, are we watching the beginning of a fundamental shift in how we think about protecting ourselves?